Hey everyone, I'm Kristen and this is Tyler Etzol, and we have been going to Wright City for 6 years and I think 5 years, and we have just seen the Lord move in some incredible ways surrounding giving and generosity, and so we would love to share a little bit of our story just about that area of our life.
Yeah, we've seen God move in some pretty wild ways that we really couldn't orchestrate ourselves or make up. And so we love the opportunity to steward that story well and to share it with people to kind of give some hope and show what God likes to do. So.
Yeah.
I think when I think about giving, I think about stewardship, and I'm just trying to think, where did I learn that? And so growing up, it was just my mom and I, and we did not have a lot of money, especially when I was really young. And what I saw her do was she was very generous and very faithful, and her circumstances definitely did not define the way that she stewarded her money and her time. And so as I got older, she started to make more money and had a lot more opportunity. And what was really incredible is that nothing changed. She still was a really good steward of her finances. And by that I mean she was just super generous. And so I think that's where I get it, and where I've learned that is that, and why stewardship is so important, is that it doesn't really matter what you have. You can be a good steward with whatever you do have, whatever God has given you. And you start with this principle that everything I have is from the Lord anyways. And so whether that's finances or time, whether it's influence and the ability to teach and mentor, everything is a gift from God. And so how can I use that to glorify Him? And if it's a season where there's not a lot, then that's okay. And stewardship's going to look a certain way for you in that season, and there might be a season where you have a lot more and stewardship looks a lot different. So that's one of my favorite parts about the idea of giving and generosity is stewardship, and that you get to be a good steward no matter where you're at. It's pretty universal.
Yeah. Absolutely. We have a list actually from the last couple years because we had God just provide in so many different ways. We knew we needed to start keeping track of it. And one of the ones that comes to mind was earlier this year, we were planning to go to Denver for my graduation, and we had, booked our flight and hotel and all that stuff, and it was getting closer, but our budget was super tight, and we realized we didn't have any money budgeted for spending money and eating out and all of that. And I think a week before, we got a check in the mail from the IRS, and it was a reimbursement from our taxes 2 years ago. And the IRS doesn't typically send you money, but I think it was a reflection of how I've had this perspective shift around finances and God's provision, and that is that it comes in a lot of different ways. And so technically this was our money. We had paid this a couple years ago. It was just a reimbursement, but it came at a time that we really needed it, and we didn't have that budgeted money, and it provided for our trip. And I think that that's kind of just an example of this perspective shift that I've seen the Lord do in me, and that is that He provides in so many different ways. Sometimes it is a friend handing me an envelope of gift cards to Trader Joe's, but sometimes it's my boss buying me lunch or putting gas in my car. Some of these smaller ways. Sometimes it's something I have to do to work for it, but it really is God providing. And I think that when we shift our trust to Him, we start to see those ways more frequently.
I think for me, one of the biggest acts of generosity where God just came through was our 1 year anniversary. And so if you know anything about me, I'm the hopeless romantic of our relationship. I joke that Disney was my third parent. And so of course, I really wanted to do something special for our anniversary, our first year. And like Kristen said, our finances were just really tight, and we didn't really know how to make it work. And so, as we were trying to think, what can we plan? What can we do? We can't really make a reservation here. We didn't really know. We started praying about it a lot. When people asked what we're praying through, how can I pray, we'd share that.
Mm-hmm.
And something that really wild, we had a couple that we just met within, maybe 4 weeks. We were trying to get to know them from Wright City, and they just sent, I think it was Kristen, a Venmo out of the blue that just said, we've been praying about this, and we think that we're supposed to give you money for your anniversary. And so super just blew us out of the water. Never would have guessed like that's how God was going to do it. And crazy enough, when we finally went to our little anniversary trip, my boss also Venmo'd me out of the blue and said, hey, we're going to take care of your dinner for the next 2 days. And so things we never could have planned on. And what I love about that is God was going to take care of us one way or the other, but because those two groups of people said yes, like they got to use their hands and their wallets to impact us, which was really cool. We're really grateful for that.
Yeah. Giving to Bright City Church has stretched my faith in so many ways, but I think that the main way, or the main kind of takeaway that I have had from it is that it is a giving back, or tithing, or being generous is a physical representation of my faith in God and my faith that He will provide. And I can think of countless times I have been, or am still, kind of concerned about finances. You know, we're not in a season where we're raking it in. And so anytime we give, whether it is on our tithe every week, or whether it's a person I encounter that has a need, it is me kind of saying no to the enemy when those worries pop up. And so it stretched my faith, and it's allowed me to just be more free with what I have, kind of like Tyler said in the beginning, with stewardship, and to really just see that I am a steward of all of this. And I do trust that God will continue to provide as we continue to use what we have wisely.